Utilicor Technologies, the world's leading manufacturer of keyhole coring and reinstatement systems, introduces the Minicor3, the cost-effective pavement coring attachment that quickly and easily connects to a ditch witch mini skid steer unit with an operating lift capacity of at least 1,550 pounds, such as an SK 1550 or higher. Before connecting or operating the unit, make sure that you read the operator's manual and follow the directions for a safe and successful coring experience. If the unit is already connected to the SK and has been transported to the worksite on a trailer, make sure that you raise the arms of the SK when offloading it down the trailer ramp to prevent the bottom of the coring protection door of the Minicor3 from contacting the pavement and damaging the door. Connecting the unit. Mount the SK and slowly drive it forward toward the back of the Minicor, with the attachment plate and the arms of the SK as low as possible and tilted fully forward. Aim the center of the attachment plate for the center of the receiver plate on the Minicor, using the inverted U-shaped cutout on the top bar of the receiver plate as the center point. When the attachment plate makes contact with the receiver plate on the back of the Minicor3, slowly raise the plate and tilt it back until the locking pins on the SK drop down into place and engage. Get off the machine and on your way forward to connect the hydraulic hoses, bend down and check to ensure that the Minicor is locked in place and the locking pins on the SK have fully engaged by running your fingers under the bottom bar of the receiver plate on the Minicor to feel the pins protruding through the locking holes in that bar. Now is the time to fill the 65-gallon water tank. Depending on what you are cutting through, you should use about a gallon of water per inch of pavement cut. Using the Quick Connect hydraulic fittings, connect the Minicor3 hydraulic hoses to the SK auxiliary hose connections. Retrieve the 12-volt DC electrical line and plug from its position on the core puller bracket behind the water tank. Insert the plug into the SK accessory port. This provides power to the Minicor. You are now ready to move to the coring location. To mark the orientation of the core for proper reinstatement later, we suggest painting a V-shaped mark on the pavement pointing toward what would be the center of the core and across the cut line or kerf of the core that you will cut. Raise the Minicor3 up to clear the ground and tilt the unit back slightly and carefully drive the SK to the desired location. If you are on an incline, it is best to have the SK and the Minicor3 pointing uphill. When you are on your mark, lower the Minicor3, still tilted backwards, to the ground with enough down pressure on the SK arms to slightly cause the front end of the tracks on the SK to begin to lift, thus transferring some of the weight of the SK to the coring unit. Now simply tilt the Minicor3 forward until the front feet contact the ground. The mast of the Minicor should be as close to perpendicular to the horizon as possible. If available on the SK, choose high flow for auxiliary hydraulics. Increase the revolutions on the engine of the SK to 3,000 RPMs. Engage the auxiliary hydraulics and lock the control lever into the full-on position using the black rubber wedge. Otherwise, the power to the coring unit will shut down when you step off the platform. Engage the parking brake. Dismount from the SK and move forward to the coring unit to unlatch the red-handled lockdown latch. Do not turn the steering wheel when the lockdown latch is engaged, or you could damage the equipment. Turn on the core drum by switching the core drum switch to the on position. To adjust the core drum speed control to the one most suited to the diameter of the core drum that you are using. To adjust the core drum speed, loosen off the inner bronze knob located on the hydraulic manifold. Dial the outer bronze knob on the manifold out to increase or in to decrease the drum speed. Consult the operator's manual for appropriate speeds. Here, we're using an 18-inch diameter drum, which should operate at around 190 to 210 RPMs. With a 12-inch diameter core drum, the optimal rotational speed should be between 210 to 230 RPMs. Turn the drum coolant water switch on. Move the lever on the water petcock from the closed horizontal or 3 o'clock position upward, approximately to the 2 o'clock position. Begin to lower the coring drum by turning the steering wheel clockwise. You will need to use the auxiliary water hose to lubricate and cool the cutting edge of the coring drum until it has seated itself in the pavement. Once the drum has scored the surface of the pavement, raise the coring drum, replace the auxiliary hose, turn off the drum, close the water petcock, and open the coring protection door. Retrieve the silver-colored circular pavement protection plate from its holder on the side of the Minicor, and slide the plate into place on the pavement under the core drum, making sure that the central opening in the plate corresponds with the impression cut by the center pilot bit. This plate will protect the asphalt surface of the core from being damaged in the event that the core gets stuck in the drum and needs to be tapped out with a pry bar inserted through the access holes in the top of the core drum. Close the coring protection door, turn the coolant water back on, adjust the petcock, and resume the coring operation. Use auxiliary water until the drum is seated in the pavement. You want to use enough water that the slurry is dark and flowing away from the core drum. When coring, the drum rotational pressure gauge should read from 500 to 750 psi. More force or down pressure on the steering wheel may cause you to lift the Minicor off its original plane and may result in damage to the pillow block or the pilot shaft and could cause the core to become stuck in the drum. Slow and steady wins the race. Let the teeth on the core drum do their work. While coring, frequently raise and lower the drum to help clear some of the particulate or cutting debris from the kerf. Watch the viscosity of the slurry. It should not be watery or piling up around the cut, but flowing away from the cut, about the consistency of heavy motor oil. If required, adjust the water flow. In an emergency, the coring operation can be shut down by hitting the red E-stop button on the dashboard of the unit. This will cause the hydraulic fluid to bypass the unit and be diverted back to the tank on the SK. As a result, the coring operation will cease. When the emergency has been resolved, you can restore the hydraulic flow to the Minicor by pulling out the red button on the E-stop. When you think you have completed your cut, the coring sound will change. The rotational pressure gauge will spike, then drop slightly, and the slurry will usually change color with dirty brown patches, indicating that you are bringing up some dirt from below the pavement. At this point, the water flow may also be diverted down into the ground rather than up around the kerf. Raise the coring drum by turning the steering wheel counterclockwise. Turn off the water at the petcock. Turn off the drum. Before moving the unit or changing the angle of the coring drum, it is recommended that you check to see that the core is loose in the pavement before moving the Minicor3 from its current position. To do this, open the coring protection door and insert a large screwdriver or a small pry bar into the kerf and lever it to see if the core moves or rocks all around. If it does not, close the door and continue coring. Make sure the coring drum is seated in the kerf before turning the core drum on. If the core moves, the coring operation is complete. Shut the coring protection door, return to the controls of the SK, remove the rubber wedge, and disengage the auxiliary hydraulics. Raise the Minicor3 and back away from the cored hole. Using the core puller, remove the core from the pavement and move it to the side. Clean up your worksite using power washer. Open the water valve, turn water pump and pressure washer switches to the on position. Cleaning the area will make reinstating the core much quicker. To cover the excavation, insert a circular road plate.